Self-sabotage is one of the most unusual behaviors that we have to face as traders. We know exactly what it is that we want to do, what it is that we want to achieve, but we become the brick wall. And we are also the head which is banging into this brick wall over and over and over again. And what you tend to see is 2 steps forward and then 3 steps backwards. And as long as this continues to happen, people are never able to achieve what it is they want to achieve in trading. Now, although it's a very unusual behavior, I have found that it's also one of the most prevalent behaviors amongst people learning how to trade. Now, over the years, through my own experience, and also working with lots of different traders, I have found that it tends to come down to one of 2 different reasons. So these are the reasons why people are self-sabotaging, because they're not doing it on purpose. They don't sit down at the computer and think to themselves, you know what, I really want to be a trader, but today I'm just gonna blow my account. Or I've had a really good month last month. I stuck to my rules, I did everything right, and I'm starting to see the progress. But this month, what I want to do is I want to undo all that work because I want to self-sabotage myself. It's unconscious reasons, it's things that we don't really understand. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out the 2 main reasons that I see for self-sabotage, and then I'm going to give you some very simple things you can implement that will hopefully help you stop self-sabotaging in future. So the first thing that I see over and over again, it's because of short-term thinking. Now, when I say short-term thinking, first of all, I'm not talking about what I call the sort of Instagram traders or the lifestyle traders who just come to trading. They have this very short mindset of, I want to make lots of money really, really quickly. When I say short-term thinking, I'm also talking about people who are here to genuinely learn and they have long-term goals of becoming traders. But short-term thinking is how we are inherently built. So if you think about the last time you were maybe on a diet, or someone you know who was on a diet. Now, when they're on a diet, they know that they want to lose weight and they know the reasons for losing the weight. However, you then set a cake in front of them and they see the cake, and the cake is instant satisfaction. It's right there, it's right now. And if they start to think to themselves, in the future, if I stick to my diet, I'm going to feel a lot better, it's much more difficult to maintain that focus and maintain that discipline because the instant gratification is the cake. And so you tend to see people falling off the bandwagon and they just start to eat the cake, or they eat the food that's in front of them that they're not supposed to be eating. There was an experiment done on this. It's actually a book which you can read. It's called either the Marshmallow Test or the Marshmallow Experiment. It's absolutely fantastic. It's basically a study that was done with kids. And they were in a room and they were told, there's a marshmallow on the plate. I need to go and do something. So the experimenter said, I need to go and do something for a little while. If you eat the marshmallow, then you just get the marshmallow. But if you wait, when I come back, I will give you multiple marshmallows. So what is it doing? It's asking the child to push aside the instant gratification of the marshmallow and wait for the longer term reward, which is basically what you are doing as a trader, or what you're doing in a lot of things in life, when you're doing the diet, etc. And what do you think happened for most of the children? Do you think they were able to wait? Even although they knew if they just waited, they would get more marshmallows in the long term. Of course not. They ate the marshmallow because it's in front of them, it's real, and it's short-term thinking which is doing this. Now, as a trader, short-term thinking works slightly differently. Short-term thinking is things like when you're sitting down at the charts and you see a trade setting up and you think, this might not be perfect, but I don't want to miss it, because it might be the trade and it's here now, and if I miss it, I might have to wait another 2-3 days for my perfect setup. And so you jump into the trade. Short-term thinking is things like when you take a loss and you instantly want to make back the loss. Your head is no longer thinking, if I just wait for my perfect setups, it will get me back on track and it will take me back into profitability. Instead, you're thinking, I was up by 2%, now I'm only up by 1%. I want to be back up by 2%. So I need to find a trade really, really quickly. And it's the short-term thinking taking over your mind. And what it does instead is it just causes you to make more mistakes over and over and over again. Now, to avoid short-term thinking, what can you do? Well, there's a few different things that you can sort of implement which is going to help you. When you're sitting down at the charts and you're sitting there for, let's say, an entire day, the entire day can seem to stretch out. It can seem like a very long period of time, and a week of sitting at the chart can seem like an eternity. You start to almost forget that over the 30-day period of a month, you only maybe need to find 2 or 3 really good trades, because you're just focused on the here, you're focused on the now, you're focused on the fact that maybe you're not doing anything productive. So what can you do? A simple thing to do is just to get a calendar and to have it sitting in front of you wherever you're trading. Now, I don't like to just have 1 month on display, I like to have the quarters, so the 3 months of a quarter. And if that's sitting in front of you, and each day goes past, you just sort of X out the day which is past, when you are feeling like this, you can look up at the calendar and you can say, okay, I have maybe just had a loss, or maybe I just missed a good setup. But overall in this month, I only need to be up by 2 or 3 solid trades. And then you look up at your chart, at your calendar, and you see there's maybe still 70, 80, 90 days left. So if you're doing it on the quarter, maybe you're looking for more, maybe 5 or 6 trades. But over the 1 month periods, if you're looking up and you see there's 27 days left, and you've just had a loss, it suddenly becomes a little bit easier to think to yourself, okay, there's no sense in me rushing trades right now because there's so many days to come. I don't need to have short-term thinking because I can actually see the long-term approach that I am taking. Another thing you can do is to remind yourself why you are doing it. Every day you sit down at the charts, have a little bit of paper written down with the reasons why you are trying to become a trader. I'm becoming a trader because I want to have the freedom that trading can't afford. I want to become a trader because I think it will help me improve my life, improve my family's life. I'm learning to become a trader because, whatever your reasons are. Now, if you've got those reasons in front of you, you can sit down, you can read them every morning, and at the end you can have something written like, I know to be a successful trader, I need to take a long-term view. Whatever happens today is not important. What happens over the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 1 year is what is going to turn me into a successful trader. So it's a couple of very, very simple things that you can do to help you avoid this short-term thinking. Because if you're thinking short-term, you're going to make short-term decisions. And short-term decisions do not work in most things in life, but certainly not in trading. Now, the second thing, which I see all the time, which causes people to self-sabotage, is the fact that your discipline, your determination, your willpower is finite. It is not this thing that you can just build and then just have it 24 hours a day. It runs down. Now again, talking back to an experiment, this one was called I believe it was actually called the cookie experiment. So we're just looking at different food experiments in this video. It was by a guy called, I think, Roy Baumeister. And this experiment put people into a room, and in this room, it basically smelled of cookies, cooking cookies. And on a plate, there were also cookies. There were 2 separate groups. The first group was told, eat the cookies, enjoy the cookies. The second group was told you are not allowed to eat the cookies. You have to avoid the cookies at all costs. And they gave them some sort of vegetable or fruit that wasn't very appealing, and they said you can eat these instead. Now, after the initial test, they were then led into another room. And in this room, both groups were set tasks. There were set tasks which I believe were impossible to complete. And what they did is they looked at both groups and they determined how long each group worked toward completing this task. And the group who had been allowed to eat the cookies worked on it, I believe it was 2 to 3 times longer than this other group. And they did this test over and over and over again, and they found the same results. Now, what is the reasoning for these results? Is it because the cookies gave these people all of this determination, all of this discipline and willpower? No, it's because they didn't have to expend the willpower on avoiding eating the cookies. It's a very, very simple way of explaining to people that if you are using willpower, it starts to drain down. Now, another example of this is, and this is almost like a fad at present between the sort of billionaires of the world. If you look at lots of billionaires, they are very often wearing the same clothes day after day after day. Now, why are they doing this? They're doing this because they believe that making the decision of what to wear each day is taking away a little bit of that decision-making process. And they do it with things like their meals. Instead of deciding what they want to eat every day, they have their meals already set. and the meals are just brought to them at the times of the day when they're supposed to eat. And this is done because they're trying to make less decisions on things that don't matter, so hopefully their decision-making process on the things that do matter is going to be improved. Now that is an extreme example. I'm not suggesting you wake up every day and wear the exact same clothes, but you need to be aware that your willpower, your determination, your discipline is not going to be enough by itself. Now, if you're sitting at the charts all day, every day, watching these candles move around, and you're making decisions over and over and over again, is this a good trade? Is this a bad trade? Okay, I'm in the trade. What is my trade management? Should I exit here? Should I stay in here? Should my stop come to break even? Should I close out partial profits? All of these decisions are draining your willpower and your decision-making ability. So how do you maintain a good level throughout the trading day, week, and month? The first thing is to make sure you are taking lots of breaks. So many people just sit down at the computer and they just stare at the screen all day. It does not work. If you do that, I can almost guarantee you are going to self-sabotage. So have breaks. I suggest sort of every hour, just get up from the computer. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Walk around your house, go and get a cup of tea. Stay off your phone. Go out into the garden if you've got a garden. Just go for a walk around the house, a walk around the block of flats, unless it's pissing it down with rain. If it's doing that, then just do something else. But something to break your focus on the charts. Something to allow you to have a little bit of a recharge. A little bit of a different frame of mind, so you're not just constantly staring at it like a zombie and watching your energy levels drain. Now, on top of that, what else can you do? So if you're taking breaks, that's great, but when you are sitting at the charts for the 55 minutes in every hour, you still don't want to just be staring at the charts. Fill your attention with something else. You can be reading a book. You can be working on a project. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. As long as you are not just constantly staring at this chart all the time thinking to yourself, is this a trade? Is this a trade? Is this a trade? Is this a trade? Should I get in? Should I not get in? You should already know the levels and the things that you're looking for. So if you already know that, you only need to glance at the screen every now and again to see if it's setting up. And as you're glancing at the screen and you look at it, then you make your decisions. Then you start to drain your willpower and your decision-making abilities. You don't want to be doing it all the time when there's no need to do it. If you're making decisions when you know there's not a trade setting up, it's still tiring you out. It's still wearing you down. So those are the things that I suggest that are going to help you hopefully avoid self-sabotage. These are all things that I use regularly because I noticed my own weakness. And then when I started studying these things, I started noticing that it wasn't just me. It's lots of people. And there are things you can do to combat it, because you have to always come back to why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you learning to trade? You're learning to trade because you want the freedom. You want the experience of being a trader. You want to be able to work from home. Whatever it is, you have to get that reason and fix it so strongly inside your head, inside your heart, that it is your driving force. And if it's your driving force, it means you are willing to change. You're willing to do things differently, rather than just doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping that one day it's somehow going to get better. You start to implement the things that actually work. And if you start to implement the things that work, you start to make the progress and you start to make the change, because you're doing things differently to what the 80% of other people are doing that are trading. The 80% of people who unfortunately consistently lose money. Okay guys, as always, I hope that was helpful. I hope you're all having a fantastic trading month. I'm James Orr, and thank you.